Hi and welcome to Retro Eric. Today I'm going to show you these three new devices I just bought, two multimeters and an oscilloscope. So a while ago I couldn't sleep, so I was sitting in front of my computers and it was way beyond bedtime, and I went into Aliexpress. That's a dangerous place to be when you're tired and you want something new. So I ended up buying these instruments. I'm not sure if they are okay or not. We will test that. But first, I'm going to start by telling you why they caught my eye and why I decided to buy them. So let's go here from the right. This is an ordinary multimeter. The reason this caught my eye was because it had a very large display. So it's easy to see. It has a live wire detection here. You can use, I guess, the red one to detect if there are any voltage going through the line. It also have a flashlight there. We can see it on the back. It's not very good. I'll turn it on. I don't know. It's not good enough for anything, but it's there if you need it. And it has the ordinary measurements, the voltage and capacitor and resistance and diodes. And it also do sound when you measure a short circuit. Okay, it came in this box. It's okay, it survived transport. And it has a bag and this manual, operation manual. I just browsed through it, and it's okay. It's in Chinese, but it's also in English. So it just lists up what it can do. The manual fits into the carrying bag, and of course so does the instrument. So it's quite handy. I'll probably never use the bag anyway. This will, if I decide to use it, it will probably just be on my desk. And then I bought this one.
Already on intelligent measurement.
And it speaks with a Chinese English accent. Anyway, I saw something similar on a crowdfunding site. So when I saw this on Aliexpress for a very cheap or good price, I think cheap is the correct word, I had to try it out. I bought the top model that also has a built-in speech synthesizer. The thing I like with this instrument is the display. It's there where you actually are already looking, because your eyes will be on the place you are measuring anyway. So it strikes me to be the right place to have the display. So then I don't need a large display like this, because this will be in my face anyway. And as we can see, it's large enough, and it's easy to read, and also it will tell or read the numbers for us, so we don't actually have to look at all. It came in this box. It looks like everybody is copying Apple when it comes to packaging these days. It also came with a manual in Chinese and English, and I just had a quick look on the specs and compared it with the other, and they look almost the same. So I guess it's like industry standard maybe for cheap multimeters. Anyway, this is even smaller, so we need glasses if we bother to read them. And finally, I have an oscilloscope. That's a big one, a huge beast. Takes too much space on my desk. So when I saw this, I had to try it. I will put some links in the descriptions on where I bought these. And just to say it, I don't get any payment or whatever for Aliexpress. I bought these one late night, and so it's all on me. But let's see if the quality is okay. It has an okay screen, and according to the specifications, it can measure up to 100 megahertz, but it actually also say in the manual that that's in theory, but you should be able to measure up to 100 megahertz. And that's more than I need. I usually works with old computers, and they are seldom more than like 12 or something like that megahertz on the bus. Commodore is only 1 megahertz, and the early PCs is 477, and yeah, then the 80s, the IBM 80 is about 12 megahertz. So this instrument should be more than enough for me. Has a manual, big letters, so it's easy to read. I only browsed through this. Looks okay. Yeah, so that is good. It also came with a probe, and here is the probe characteristics. Here's the probe. You can switch between 1 and 10x, and it has a way too short ground wire. So I'll probably just cut that off and solder in a longer piece in the middle here, or just buy a longer one. This is easily taken off and back on again. And let's tell you about the instrument. It has on and off switch. It has a USB connector here to charge it. It's a stand here, so we can put it neatly here. And that's basically what we can say on the sides. Yeah, and at the top we have a test. This just turned itself off. That's what we just heard. This has a test probe. No, what is it called? Test signal. Anyway, let us connect this claw connected to the test test output and press auto. Look at that. It found, it says here, let me put it closer. It found a square wave, and it's 1 kilohertz, 3.3 volt. So this was just amazing. So maybe I'm lucky. Next time I connect it to my Commodore 64 to the data bus and press auto, I expect it to just find the curve, if it's there, for me to see. Okay. Now I have shown you the 3 instruments, and I want to test them. I want to compare if they have the same results. And to do that, I will also bring out the 2 multimeters I have. I have this very, very cheap multimeter. It's actually the one I'm using daily, but it's not a good one, because if I touch it, you see here, it's something wrong with it. Maybe it fell to the ground once too many. So if I just barely touch it, it turns off. You see? And yeah. So it's not a good instrument. The reason I bought it a few years back was because it had a big display, and it made a beep if it found a short circuit. The instrument I had before that is this one. It's a better instrument, probably. I'm no expert on these things, but it was just too big, too much hassle, so I rarely use it. Okay. What do we have here? We have 220 volts. We are in Europe, so this is the contact we are gonna test. And the first thing I'm gonna do is to test
Already on intelligent measurement.
this one. It goes automatically in auto detection mode, and it can auto detect between DC and AC and capacitance, is that the word? And resistance, and a couple of other things. But now I want to test if this wire has any electricity going through it without actually touching it.
Non-contact voltage measurement.
Non-contact measurement. Yep. And what we can see here is green light. And according to the manual, yeah, I actually read it, or at least browsed through it. That means there are some power. 2 lines is even more power. Let's see. Anyway, it tells us that there is power in here. If I shove it directly in, it turns red and all the 4 lines shows. So we know that this wire is hot.
Intelligent measurement.
So let's turn it back to auto.
True value 231 volt.
Yep, we did it. I just shoved them in there. And the lady told us that this was 230 volts. And we can also read the display there. I lost, and there it's back, 230 volts.
True value 230 volt.
Yeah, I would actually say that this worked very good. Okay, next instrument. This is also supposed to be auto, so I'll just shove it down. No, they are not long enough. No, I don't get them all the way down to the connectors. Okay. Anyway, we shouldn't play with 230 volt, so let us connect this power supply and try out 9 volt. This is set to be 9 volt, and if I'm not mistaken, plus is on the outside, so let's measure that. 8.84 volt. Okay, let's test with my old instrument. Put that on DC. This is not auto, so I need to set it. Plus on the outside and minus. And 8.83. 82 now. Okay. And let us try the pen. 8.81. It's like it's going further down. Just to test that, let's just test it quickly here. No, this says 8.84. So this is a bit higher than the pen. Okay, let's try the oscilloscope. And it says 9.26 volt average. It actually says minus, but that's because the polarities are reversed. So 9.26. That is actually higher, a lot higher than the other two instruments. But maybe this one needs to be calibrated or something like that, because it says with nothing connected, it says 178 millivolts there. Is there any calibrations here? Yeah, calibrate. Let's do that. Please unplug the probes and USB and press OK to continue. Let's do that. Calibrating successful. It still says VPP 178. And 9.26 volt. Okay. Let's test this, one of my older instruments. And this says 8.81. So the instruments says from 8. Well, these instruments, these multimeters, they all say between 8.81 and 8.86. So that is good enough, at least for me. But the oscilloscope said 9.26. Okay, that was the first test. Let us do another one. Here I have a resistor. I think it's 46. So that's it's in auto.
46.79 thousand ohm.
Okay, 46.79. And this one, now it's set to auto. Let's, yep, 46.76. Yeah, that's okay. And if we compare with the old instrument, 46.7, yeah. Also 46.6, the others would 46.7, so I would say this is also okay. So we haven't tested all the functions on these multimeters and the oscilloscope, but we know that it can measure at least 9 volt and a resistor that is 46 kilo ohms. That's good enough for me. So do I have a favorite? If I also include the old favorite in the mix here, what can we say? Well, I cannot use this because it's so unreliable. I really like this one. It was easy to hold and the display is where I need it to be. One thing I didn't like with this instrument, I call it the 10 multimeter, the pen, because it looks like a pen, and that are the probes. They are very short and very thick. The old probes are much better because they are thinner and you can fit them in that tight spot. And we have, of course, this instrument. Big display. It has auto, so that's good. The probes, I can say exactly the same about these probes. Too short and too thick. I think I will have this lying like a standby instrument if I have a problem with the pen multimeter, just in case. And of course, I will have to use this when measuring activity on the data bus. That is basically the only thing I use my oscilloscope for. And with this one, I don't even have to adjust and find that binary curve. I just have to connect it and press auto. And if there is activity there, it should show up. So I'm actually satisfied with the late night Aliexpress visit. I think I did not waste my money. Maybe I wasted it on this, but I will keep it handy, and I will retire completely this one. Don't even try to give it away. Okay, if you have any questions about these instruments, you can ask me below the description, and I will try to answer as good as I can. Thank you for watching my video.